The first question I have for you is, what's the best advice you've ever received?
I didn't receive any advice. And that's the thing about it. When I grew up, I just didn't receive any advice. My family was in such turmoil that the best advice I received is from myself. And that has to be to study yourself, all the bad, because the good's already there. You need to study that. Study the bad stuff about yourself and learn from that and grow.
I love that, man. That's such a beautiful way of looking at it. And that's true, because I think we live in a culture where we're waiting for someone else to come solve our problems.
Yeah.
Right? We're living in that culture.
I was very blessed to not have that. And and that's how I looked at my life too, not to get off the 5 questions, but I looked at my life in a way that I was able to find so much strength in negativity. I was able to flip it upside down versus me thinking, woe is me, my life sucks. I was able to say, my God put me in the perfect training ground to study myself, to become a straight up, scientist of my mind.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah. Don't worry about going away from the 5 questions. I did it too. I was getting into your answers.
my
So second question, can't hurt me. If there's anything that can hurt you, what is it?
Oh, there's tons of things.
Yeah.
Everything I talk about, I was afraid to jump out of airplanes, afraid of cold water, afraid of myself. So there's so many things that can hurt me, but the biggest thing that can hurt me is myself. Is allowing my mind to get away from the reality. We build a false reality in our minds. The real reality is the one thing that can, the false reality is the one thing that can hurt you.
Yeah.
The real reality is the one thing you can help and fix yourself.
Absolutely. Third question. What's the third question that I wanted to ask you is all around, what's the one thing that you're trying to learn this year? What's the one thing you've been kind of like tackling this year?
I'm a big introvert. So this is very uncomfortable for me. Even though I'm comfortable with you, I know there's a lot of eyeballs on me right now. So it's very uncomfortable for me. I used to stutter real bad. So it's trying to be in a spot where I am in that monk-like mentality everywhere I go, and not allow the past demons of even I'm successful now. But you still have those moments where you go back and your mind's like, remember when you were 6 years old and you stuttered profusely at this play and you were so, it's those things that come back to you all the time. So that's what it is.
Awesome. What's your daily meditation or mantra or repetition to yourself?
Every day I tell myself, I used to believe I was the weakest man that God ever created. So now I believe that I'm the hardest human being that God ever made. I don't care if it's true or not. It's the most important conversation to me. It's the thing that drives me every day. It's the one thing that keeps me going every day, is that you must constantly be that man that you want to be.
Awesome, man. And fifth and final question, what's your purpose right now?
My purpose right now is to continue. I used to have a wash rag when I did this. And you know how you take a shower, you have a wash rag and a cloth, and you're sitting there and you're just lathering up. And before you hang your rag up, you want to get all the water to come on it and get it all the suds out of it. You want to wring it out, and you want to hang it up. So my big thing is, when I live my life, I want to make sure that when I'm dead and gone, that I wring that wash rag out, and that wash rag is my soul. And I also believe that we're going to end up one day meeting a maker, if you believe in one. And I believe that maker knows everything about you. Everything about you. Knows I was going to be here and talking to you. Knows everything. But you also have a choice to make. You have a choice to make. We have choices. And the one thing that scares me to death in my life is getting to heaven and not being what I was supposed to be. And I believe that God has a chart, and he looks at the chart and he puts it in front of you when you get to heaven. He says, hey, this is what you're supposed to be. And one of my biggest fears in life was to see that chart and not have every block checked off. I want to make sure that I'm constantly pursuing whatever it is I'm pursuing, just to be the best. Just constantly grinding myself into a fine powder. But doing it in a smart way. Like I talked about, you can constantly grind yourself into a point where you're just sick. There's a happy medium of grinding. So that's my purpose now, to continue to push myself so others can see what is possible.
That's beautiful, man. Everyone